Hello. In this short video, I'll walk through how to use the Arroyo streaming engine to process data in real time. I'll start by creating a connection. Arroyo supports connections to many other systems to get data in and out. For example, queues like Kinesis and NATs, web sources like HTTP and WebSockets, and databases like Redis. I'm going to create a Kafka connection to read in some web logs. The first step is to define the connection profile for our Kafka cluster, which tells Arroyo how to connect to it. I'm entering the Bootstrap servers and configuring the schema registry so that we can publish and consume event schemas. Great, it's valid. Next, I'll create a Kafka table that will read our log data. I can select the logs topic as a source. Then, I'll select the data format, which in this case is Arroyo, with Confluent Schema Registry storing the schemas. I'll give it a name, logs, then validate it. Great, looks like everything is correct. We've created our connection, so now let's try using it. Opening the Pipelines tab, we can see our existing pipelines and create a new one. This is the pipeline editor. We can create new streaming pipelines using SQL and preview their outputs. On the left column is the catalog, divided into sources and sinks. The logs table I just created is there, and we can see the fields generated from the schema. I'll start just by looking at the data with a select star query. This will stream out the data from Kafka and into the browser. Let's try something more interesting. Let's look at how many IP addresses are sending us failed authentication requests. I'll select IP and count and filter by status code 401, unauthorized. And then I'll group by the IP and a sliding window called hop in SQL to bound the results by time. I see that most of the IPs appear just once, but are there any IPs that appear more frequently? Let's add a halving clause to find out. It looks like we have one IP address that's appearing much more frequently in our failed auth attempts. It would be great if we could automatically ban IPs that have lots of failed auths. I can do that by hooking up our query to a webhook sink, which will make an HTTP request to our API when there's a result to our query. In addition to creating connections to the web UI, as we did with Kafka, we can also create them directly in SQL via create table statements. So let's create a table and we'll configure it with our webhook connector. I'll set the endpoint to my API server and the format to JSON. Then I just need to insert into the table and check that the pipeline is valid. Oh, I made a syntax error. Fix that. Now it's okay. Now I'm ready to start the pipeline for real. Once the pipeline starts, it'll begin immediately reading data from Kafka and passing it through this stateful stream processing pipeline, eventually ending up in calls to our webhook sink. Arroyo is periodically taking snapshots of the state and writing them to S3. This allows us to restore in case anything goes wrong and preserve exactly one's processing semantics. I can also perform operations on the pipeline, like stopping it. The state is preserved, so when I restart the pipeline, it picks back up consistently from where it stopped. If we find that we're not keeping up with our input data, we can also rescale the pipeline. The pipeline will immediately checkpoint, then come back at the new higher parallelism. This has been a quick overview of the Arroyo streaming engine. If you're interested in learning more, check out our docs or chat with the team on Discord.